Biophilic design.
Biophilic design.
Biophilic design.
Biophilic design.
Biophilic design.
Biophilic design. I'm Kaz Rowe, and this is A Style is Born, a show where we explore the histories and details behind some of the most iconic design styles. Let's do this thing. Imagine the greenest place you've ever been in. A lush forest, a sun-soaked meadow, a botanical garden, or a remarkably well-maintained public park. Picture yourself there, basking in the serene embrace of so much green, perceiving all the earthy sounds, smells, and textures. Notice as time melts away into nearby puddles, and stress relieves into subtle breezes. Folks, biophilic design is this journey brought indoors. The word biophilia itself comes from the Greek prefix bio, or life, and philia, or love. So literally, love of nature. But it's more than just love, according to Stephen R. Kellert, godfather of biophilic design. It's in our DNA. He writes, "Our species has evolved for more than 99% of its history in adaptive response to the natural world and not just human-created or artificial forces. And therefore, biophilic design seeks to connect our inherent need to affiliate with nature in the modern built environment." Biophilic design recognizes that most of the spaces we live and work in now, while not entirely conducive to our mental health, are still our current natural habitats. Therefore, it beckons to negotiate the design of these modern spaces so that we may embrace nature within our walls. Why? Because it's in our nature. In other words, biophilic design is a realistic approach to bridging the gap between modernity and Mother Nature. It doesn't encourage us to drop everything and start an off-the-grid permaculture community in the woods, though that does sometimes, most times, sound appealing. But it also isn't just about putting a few potted plants in the corner or turning your cat's water bowl into a small fountain, though those additions are certainly steps in the right direction. Biophilic design is more of a holistic approach, a larger plan aimed at reconnecting us to and prolonging our engagement with nature. Imagine curating your living space with the intention to make it as soul-nourishing and life-affirming as a garden. But that does beg a vital question. Is the Rainforest Cafe biophilic design? After all, it's not just a few plants, but an immersive recreation of the rainforest. However, if you've seen Eddie Burbach's video on eating at every rainforest cafe in North America, I think it's clear that this restaurant wasn't really designed to advance human wellness. Though I have to say, those bathrooms are pretty freaking cool. I'll let you lovely folks hash that one out in the comments, but back to biophilia. As we discussed in the Art Nouveau episode, as the world became more and more industrialized, the stronger drive was to reconnect to nature with design. The Victorian and Edwardian eras were marked by their love of home greenhouses, conservatories, and maximalist plant parlors. The Vanderbilt Ball of 1883 saw the import of hundreds of lush, tall plants to the mansion as decoration to mimic a tropical forest for ballgoers. However, the era's green thumb didn't see value in letting nature necessarily take over. Rather, there was a focus on plants as symbols of contained nature, following colonial and industrial ideas of man conquering nature. Funny though, it was these very enterprising ideals that produced the visual eyesores and unholy levels of pollution that made this era's folks crave nature in the first place. Humans, am I right? The very fashionable Wardian case, an ancestor to the modern terrarium, and notable decor piece of the Victorian drawing room, was designed for this very reason. Turns out, plants and coal smoke didn't mix. Later on in the 20th century, as folks embraced modernism and did away with the decorative drama of earlier eras, indoor plant life became temporarily unfashionable, or rather, they were used sparingly for ambiance, but not for long because, as biophilia suggests, humans crave interaction with nature even where it isn't. By the mid-century, indoor miniature gardens, planters, and water features began to appear in odd and unexpected places, office complexes, indoor malls, hotels, and more. And today, biophilic design has extended the ultimate olive branch to our modern spaces. Caroline talks about this in the Monstera episode of Wayfair's other YouTube series, Iconic Objects, where she explains the rise of plant parents and biophilic interiors as a result of heightened social anxieties, tumultuous political environments, climate crisis, chronic onlineness, and of course, a booming wellness industry. In a world of chaos, nature offers us a little bit of peace. More and more architects and designers are seeing the need for naturalist styles and pushing for it in homes, cities, and more. Designers such as Oliver Heath craft their homes using various plants and salvaged wood walls. Singapore as a whole is very good at this trend, building lush, plant-covered skyscrapers and businesses. And the vertical forest in Milan boasts 2 residential towers filled with tens of thousands of plants. And the Treehouse Hotel in London has used biophilic design points to incorporate wood to mimic the feeling of literally being in a treehouse. Other initiatives target cities at large. Green Shades is a European system using vegetal awnings to create more shade on hot city streets and clear pollutants from the air with, of course, the added benefit of natural beauty. And if you've been in almost any cafe, coffee shop, or other concept in the last 5 years or so, I'm sure you've noticed the sudden uptick of impressive plant collections in the window. Biophilia's got some pretty savvy marketing chops. Got plants? As for the home, channeling biophilia is easier than you think. Just as nature is always adapting and thriving, there are tons of unique ways to embrace biophilia, regardless of spatial limitations or plant parenting skills. So most obviously, houseplants are a key focus, lots of them, and large ones or climbing ones. Allowing plants to engage with your space as much as you do, such as plant-dedicated walls or lining your stairs with them, reminds one of our duty to share the earth. And choosing climbing or vine-type plants is a simple way to have one plant decorate a whole wall by itself. Natural light and airflow is key here. Open up those windows and dust off that ceiling fan. If windows and natural light access is limited, here's a few hacks. First, incorporating mirrors will play with light and reflect it around your space. Second, using naturalistic light fixtures, especially ones with organic shapes or made out of natural materials. And speaking of natural materials, biophilic-friendly furniture is often achieved with wood. While stone and clay are splendid natural accent materials, research shows that surrounding yourself with wooden furniture is said to relax the nervous system, lowering stress and increasing perceptions of comfort. Biophilic design is science. As for colors, shapes, and textures, think of those which you'd witness in nature. Green, of course, but what else? Shades of brown on tree bark or soil, the grays of stones and pebbles, the blues of skies and rivers, and think of all the abstract and irregularly beautiful shapes and textures of all of these things. Nature is perfectly imperfect, and biophilic design lets our homes be too. Of course, in my own apartment, I achieved the biophilic response by laying on my green couch and putting on soothing nature sounds and spiritual healing music for peace and tranquility 10 hours on my TV, but you know. You can find loads of gorgeous naturalistic pieces for your home on Wayfair, like a number of planters or pots for your plant babies. And hey, if this sounds a little intimidating, fake plants and nature-inspired art is a great place to start.
Humans have always and will always crave connection with nature. Biophilic design is a perfect way to bridge the gap between our dreams and our reality by bringing nature into our space and nurturing it, while it nurtures us. You don't need to live in a treehouse or a specialty-built complex to do that. After all, the point is channeling what exactly works for you and your own personal harmony. Thank you for learning with me about the history of biophilic design. And head on over to Wayfair to bring your green dreams to life, and I'll catch you next time on A Style is Born.